and good ladies. Someone wanted me to give the dating advice that is the traditional version as opposed to the 2025 version of dating. And they are not the same, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I guess that's why they wanted me to do a video, because traditional dating and 2025 dating are totally different. And I'm going to explain to you the pitfalls of 2025 dating as a result. But first, let's just dive right in this, and let's talk about traditional dating. Okay, as you can tell, I got a few gray hairs. And of course, most of this though is by nerves, not necessarily age. But still, I am 62. I'm going to be 62 here in just a few days. And so I can give you some pointers on traditional dating as opposed to 2025 dating. So that's what I'm going to do. So, traditional dating, as it was back in the day. What you would do is you would find out somebody that already has a girlfriend, and you would get him to have his girlfriend go talk to your potential girlfriend and say, hey, so-and-so likes you, he's interested in you, and wants to talk to you. And right then and there, you could be shut down. But if you're not shut down, then you proceed onward, and you ask her out on a date. And by the way, let's make it abundantly clear that absolutely nothing is to happen on that first date. You're not even holding hands, by the way. No kissing, no holding hands, no nothing. It's just a date. And you go catch a movie, you talk, you find out what her likes and dislikes are, what her beliefs are, and then likewise, hopefully she will do the same, and hopefully you guys are compatible. This is about finding out if you're compatible, right? And then on the second date, all right, if the first date goes well, then you have a second date. Now on the second date, you are allowed to hold hands. Okay, you're allowed to hold hands. And, so then on the second date, you find out more about her, find out some things that, what are her major turnoffs and stuff like that. You go on a second date. All right. Now, the third date is where you would introduce yourself to her parents if you haven't already. If you didn't do it on the first date or the second date, on the third date you would introduce yourself to her parents, let them know that you intend to date her, possibly even marry her. Of course, back then it was definitely marry, because people didn't date unless they had the intention of marrying. So you would make those proclamations to her parents, get to know her parents, and all that good shit. And then if they approve, then you have a fourth date. Now on the fourth date, not only are you allowed to hold hands, but you might, and I emphasize the word might, be allowed to kiss on the fourth date. All right? Because after having permission from the parents and all that good shit. So that is traditional dating as it was here in the United States. So what is 2025 dating? Okay, what is 2025 dating? All right, well, let's discuss 2025 dating, because it ain't nothing to do with that at all. Okay, not even close. All right, well, first of all, 2025 dating is you have all these dating websites. And they're like, yeah, man, you could date these women online, All right, well, first of all, texting a woman on your mobile device is not a date. It's just talk, and that's all it is. It ain't nothing else. Okay, because a date, as I've already explained in the traditional version, is where you physically meet a person in real life. Okay, so obviously if you're doing this shit online, that's not a real date. It's just texting. But they believe, the websites, the dating websites believe that is a date. And they'll tell you so. They'll say, oh, yeah, that's a date. No, it's not. It's texting. And that's all it is. But anyway, moving on. All right. So you got these dating websites that insist that you're on a date. Well, you want to avoid those like the plague, unless you just like looking at the pretty pictures like me. I like looking at the pretty pictures. I'll make an account, and I'll just go there to look at the pretty pictures. Some of the women are absolutely gorgeous. So I'll just go and I'll look at the pictures. But you're never going to meet these women in real life. Ever. You'll never meet these women in real life. And if the website's honest, they'll tell you in a PM that you're never going to meet them. See, if you meet the women in real life and exchange emails and start talking on a personal basis, they don't make no money, okay? See, they make money by getting you to click on shit, all right? They don't make no money if you're sitting there talking to her on private email. You get it? So that's what this is all about. It's all about money. It's all about the Benjamins, all right? It's all about the Benjamins, baby. All right, so that's the dating websites of today. Well, Vaughn, supposedly people have met on eHarmony and got married in real life. Yeah, there was a short period of time where that did occur. You're right. However, this is 2025. This is not 1999 when when the internet first got going and shit. All right, this is 2025. All right, dating websites today are not about meeting someone in real life. Their idea of a date, air quotes, is where you text another female on your mobile device. That is not a date. That's just talk. That's all it is. A date is where you physically meet a person in the real world and you go out on a physical date to a movie, to a restaurant, or something of that nature. All right? Just so we understand each other. Okay? These dating websites are just a way to steal your money. They just want your money. That's all they want. They don't give a shit about anything else. And you'll notice that on these dating websites, the women don't pay nothing. They don't pay nothing. They can write you 1,000 times, and it don't cost them a dime, but it costs you money. Why is that? Because it's a honeypot. It's what they call a honeypot. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. It's a trap. Well, it really is. Because all they're interested in is getting your money. These dating websites. They're not interested in you finding your true love and getting married. That's not what they're about. And besides, do you think these websites are going to spend the thousands and thousands of dollars to fly your happy ass out to meet this person? Fuck no. Fuck no, you asshole. Okay? So no, these dating websites are a honeypot. They're a trap. They're a trap to take all your money, and that's it. So I log in to these websites just to look at the pretty pictures. Because I know there's no snowballs in hell and chance in hell that I'm ever going to meet these women in real life. And that's unfortunate. Now you say, well, Vaughn, how do you know? Because I had this Vietnamese girlfriend on one of these dating websites. And 2 other women as well that I was interested in. But this one in particular. Okay, and I talked to her for months. I spent tons of money on that website. And then, and I supposedly met all of their criteria, right? Well, I met all of her criteria. She wanted to meet me in real life. I wanted to meet her in real life. We wanted to get married. Everything was great. And the website said, no, fuck you. We're not gonna let you exchange information. Okay? So, word to the wise. No dating websites, not even eHarmony or any of these other motherfuckers. They're never gonna let you meet in real life. That's a lie. Because if you meet in real life, they don't make any fucking money. You get it? Get it up here. They don't make money if you and her are meeting in real life and talking on your personal, with your personal email accounts. They don't make no money. And this is about making money. And it ain't about nothing else. Okay? So get it out of your fucking head that you're going to go on a dating website and you're going to meet somebody in real life. Now, you say, well, Vaughn, you met Andrea on SinglesNet. I did. Like I said, that was back in the day, though. That was back in the day where you could actually meet somebody in real life and get married. Well, those days are gone. They've been gone for years now. Okay, so put it away. And it's not good. That's not, unless you just go in there to look at pretty pictures, you're not going to meet no one in real life. You'd have to spend, even when you meet their criteria, like I said, even when you meet their criteria, you're still never going to get married. You're never going to meet them in real life. They are not going to spend the thousands of dollars to fly you to Taiwan or Singapore or Ukraine or wherever. I guess Ukraine seems to be the hot thing right now. Oh, meet a cute girl from Ukraine. No, you ain't. No, you ain't, you dumbass. No, you ain't, you dumbass. You go on that website and spend thousands and thousands of dollars and never meet nobody in real life, because it's not going to happen. Because that ain't the plan. That's not the purpose of a dating website anymore. The purpose of a dating website is to take your money, and that's it. All right. I could go to this one website right now. I could give them $1 million, and they still would not give me the personal information of any one of those women. They won't do it because they can't make no money that way. Okay, you get it? So okay, enough said about the dating websites. So let's talk about personal dating. You have this woman that you're interested in. All right, now I'm going to say something, and everybody's going to think it's controversial. Controversial my ass. I'm trying to keep you out of jail, dumbass. So you better be listening, because it ain't controversial. The problem with modern dating in 2025 is that women have the control of the court system. Okay? In a court battle that's one-on-one between you and a female, you will lose every fucking time. And in fact, the court will go out of their way to get the best lawyer that they can for this woman if it's a matter of your version versus hers. You cannot win, dude. You cannot win in court. The courts are literally stacked against the man. All right? So, how do you date a woman in 2025? Well, here's how you do it. What you need is a police officer. That's what you need. You need you a police officer, or you need at least 2 witnesses before you approach any female in 2025. All right? You just do. Why, Vaughn? Because if you don't have that, and you go and talk to some strange woman that you never met before, all she has to do is say that you tried to rape her or that you tried to threaten her, and your ass goes to jail for life, dude. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it, because it's your word against hers, and like I said, the court will get her the best fucking lawyer they can find to represent her, and you don't get shit. Maybe if you're lucky, you might get a court-appointed attorney, but typically you have to defend yourself in family court, and that sucks. So, you need at least a police officer or 2 witnesses, okay? Then you approach the female and say, hey, I'm interested in you. Would you like to go out on a date? Blah, 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 which they will most likely turn you down because you don't have enough money, all right? Now, why is it that men have to have money in 2025? I thought it was equal rights and shit. Well, it is equal rights until it gets to you. Then it's not equal rights anymore. You still got to pay for everything. And you say, Vaughn, do you have any real-life examples of this? Yes, Candace. Candace is a real-life example. She expects the man to pay for everything. Well, that shit ain't been around since 1975. This is 2025. Women have equal rights now. They pay their own share. You pay your own share on a date. If you go on a date, she buys her food, you buy your food. She pays for half the movie ticket, you pay for the other half. It's all equal. It's supposed to be equal, right? Well, see, a lot of women have a brain fart thinking this is 1975, where the man pays for everything. No, those days are gone. And they were gone in 75. But they're gone. Okay? That's not how shit works today. It just isn't. Okay, so there goes the traditional date right out the window right off the bat, doesn't it? Yeah, because typically the guy pays for everything. All right, so, and back in the day, that was how it worked, but it don't work that way no more. All right, so you need witnesses, though, because she could say, this strange woman that you've never met before, she could say you threatened to rape her, you threatened to beat her up. She could say all kinds of shit. Okay? So you don't want that. That's bad. That's really bad. All right. So now, once you have established that, then you should be all right. But just understand that this is supposed to be equal rights. She's supposed to pay her share. You're supposed to pay your share. And that's how it works in 2025. Because I'm telling you right now, if you don't have a police officer or two witnesses, and you go up to some strange woman, and she doesn't like you, or she thinks you're ugly or weird or creepy, your shit's toast. Because if you don't have witnesses, she could say anything. She could say you were going to rape her or kill her. What are you going to say in court? That you didn't? It's your word against hers. And they'll get the best lawyer they possibly can to represent her. I guarantee it. If you just happen to have money for a lawyer. Because they'll get the best lawyer they can find to represent her. Guaranteed. All right, so understand, this is a different world. This is not traditional dating anymore. That's long gone. Thanks to feminazism and shit. That pretty much ruined it for us guys. Feminism has destroyed the United States. It's sad. It really is sad. But it's the truth. And that's just the way it goes. And it sucks. But there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I wish there was. I wish we could turn the clock back and put everything back to the way things used to be. But it doesn't work that way. But yeah, this is 2025. Women that want you to pay for everything are still living in 1975. Well, 1975 was a long time ago. Okay, time to come into 2025, where the woman pays her share of the date, you pay your share of the date, and if you do go see a movie, you split the cost of the movie ticket. Or if it's a concert, you split the concert down the middle. Everything is equal, because that's what women said they wanted. Remember? They said they wanted equality. Okay, equality means you pay your half of the movie ticket, or you pay your half of the concert ticket. That's called equality, and that's what it is. Anything less is not equality. All right. If you would happen to find these women that insist on being traditional, then you're going to have to find a job that pays you double pay in order to be able to pay for everything. Otherwise, you're going to be up shit creek. Because, see, back in the day, man paid for everything, all right? And women didn't have to pay for shit. They didn't have to pay for nothing. Man bought it all. Man bought the house, the car, the boat. If you needed a new dress, the man paid for it. If you needed to go to some fancy ball or some fancy meeting or some shit like that, the man paid for it. If you needed a new ironing board to iron the clothes, the man paid for it. If you wanted to go to some social club at night with your girlfriends, the man paid for it. The man paid for everything. But see, the man could pay for everything because back then it was all based on the man's income. And so the man could pay for all that shit. Well, see, you can't do that today. Can't do that today. Those days are long gone. Destroyed by feminism, communism, the New Deal, and all this other stupid socialist and communist bullshit. And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. But them's the breaks. All right? Them's the breaks. Now you say, well, Vaughn, could I correspond via email to this girl? And thereby I've got everything in writing, and she can't accuse me of that. Well, yes. I mean, technically, if you have an email and it's going to be hard for her to say you threatened her when you didn't via email. So you might have a leg to stand on that. But, you get a good lawyer in court, they might find a loophole around that. They could say the email where you threatened her was deleted or some shit, It's untellable. See, court is a battlefield, all right? And if you don't go into court with the intention of winning, you've already lost, okay? You go into a court of law with the intention of winning. Court is a battlefield, and you go in there to win. None of this mamby-pamby shit. You go into a court of law to win. Period. All right? Anything less is garbage. Anything less is bullshit. All right? Because I guarantee you, when you go into that courtroom, the court is going to give her the best lawyer that money can buy, and she's going to absolutely own your fucking ass. All right? Because, like I said, the lawyer may say, oh, well, the email where he threatened her was deleted or something. Who knows what's liable to go on. Okay, so no, you have to have fucking witnesses. All right? It's just, and then there's another monkey wrench with the whole 2025 dating. Because now, thanks to all this bullshit given to us by the Jews, this transgenderism and homosexuality and shit, now what you have to do is you have to ask a female if she's female biologically, if she's female from birth. Because if you don't, you could get a transgender. And it isn't even a real female. Now you say, well, Vaughn, it's easy to spot these transgenders. No, actually it's not. Years ago, admittedly, but years ago, I put transgender into a Google search because I was curious, Curiosity killed the cat and all that. So I put it in there, and some of these women, they looked like real females, sounded like real females, but they were transgender. Some of them were actually quite beautiful, believe it or not, but they were transgender, okay? And that was years ago. I shudder to think what modern science is capable of doing today. But they, if they're willing to spend the money, they can look just like a normal female, and you will not be able to tell the difference until, like I said, you turn them around and you check for them 2 dots. Well, really it's 3 dots, but you can't pull her pants all the way down. But you pull her belt loop down a little bit and look for them 2 dots. You don't find them 2 dots, you better run like hell, motherfucker, because that's a transgender. All right? Say, hey, can I check the back of your belt loop for 1 minute? Or something. Any excuse you can think of to, check for those dots, man. As I tell you, you don't see them dots, you better run like hell, because that is not a female. And you say, well, Vaughn, why is that? Because the female skeleton and male skeleton are different. The female's pelvis has to expand to allow for birthing the baby, right? And so hence the 2 dots. So, now there was this one stupid-ass website that said, oh, men have the dots too. I've never seen, I was an orderly for 14 years. I was an EMT for 5 years. I have never seen dots on a man. I've never seen them. Show them to me, because I've never seen them. Because if a man has those 2 indentations in the back, like a female does, then that means the skeletons are the same, doesn't it? Yeah. But that's not true, because we know from biology class that the male skeleton and the female skeleton are different. And they're different for a reason. There's reasons why men and women are different. And these people, they keep trying to say that men and women are equal, are either delusional or they have an agenda. Because men and women are not the same. They are totally different animals. And anybody that thinks that they are the same is an idiot. They're a lunatic. All right? That's just the facts of life, man. That's just reality. But anyways, somebody wanted me to discuss the traditional dating versus 2025 dating. So hopefully I've saved you a lot of aggravation and a lot of trouble. Because I tell you right now, you go up to some strange woman and start spouting off a bunch of shit. She's all she has to do is call a cop and have you arrested. That's all she's got to do. All right, just understand that shit. Because this is not 1970 anymore, guys. Okay, 1970 came and went. All right, this is 2025, and things are different in this world. They just are. And you say, well, Vaughn, surely all these women aren't aggressive against men. Really, you don't think? Where are you living in a cave or some shit? Women are taught that men are evil. Women are taught that men are misogynic. Women are taught that men are patriarchal. Okay? Women are being taught that shit. You better wake up and get a clue, because women are being taught that shit. All right? And as long as women are being taught that shit, you ain't got a fucking prayer, dude. All right? So do not approach a strange woman unless you got 2 fucking witnesses or a cop with you. Because if you do, you're in deep shit. There's absolutely nothing you can do when you get into court. Absolutely nothing. Because it's your word against hers. And you will lose. Okay? I guarantee. I don't care if you've got fucking Perry Mason as your goddamn lawyer, you're gonna lose. Alright? That's just reality. So anyway, I hope I've given you a comparison between traditional dating and 2025 dating. Because it's absolutely impossible to date in 2025. It really is. It's impossible. Okay? Because you're either going to run into these women that think you're a male chauvinist pig, or you're going to run into these women that expect you to pay for everything. So you're not going to win. You're not going to win in 2025. Why do you think all these men are buying these fucking robots, these Japanese robots? Why do you think they're doing that? Because you can't win in 2025. You can't go out on a date in 2025. So the men are buying a fucking robot, and the robot takes good care of them until she blows a gasket and kills you. But anyway, until that time, it's pretty good, I guess. So, now you know the difference between the two. Hopefully you'll survive. Holy shit, a half an hour? I've been talking a half an hour? Damn. Anyway, I got it out, so it's going to take forever for this thing to load. But the Wi-Fi here sucks. Oh my God, it sucks. But anyways, that's going to do it. Have a pleasant day and a better tomorrow.